Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we are going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if young Mike Barnes was in Cobra Kai Season 1? So in this timeline, Mike Barnes wouldn't exist in the 80s, and the events of Karate Kid 3 wouldn't happen. Kreese would never go to Terry Silver, and he would shut down Cobra Kai. So Daniel wouldn't compete in this timeline, and many years would pass. Johnny would still open up Cobra Kai, and the events of Season 1 would still happen. And during the L Valley, Miguel would be competing, and so would Robbie, and Mike Barnes would also be there. He would be known as Karate's bad boy, and he would go around competing in various tournaments. He would try to intimidate Xander Stone, and he would want to take his title of All Valley champion. The Cobra Kais would start winning their matches, and it would be Miguel, Robbie, Xander, and Mike that would make it to the semifinals. Xander would still fight Miguel, and Robbie would fight Mike. Mike would fight aggressively, and he would use illegal moves against Robbie, just like he did against Daniel in the original timeline. And this is how Mike would beat Robbie, and Xander would still fight Miguel, but Miguel would beat Xander, and it would be Miguel and Mike Barnes during the finals, and Miguel would start fighting Mike, and it would be a close match between Mike and Miguel, and the score would be 2-2. Mike Barnes would want to intimidate Miguel, but Miguel wouldn't be afraid of him, but in the end, Miguel would get the final point, and Miguel would be the All Valley champion. This would be the first tournament that Mike had lost, and he would realize that he needed to learn from the best, so Mike Barnes would decide to join Cobra Kai, and the events of Cobra Kai Season 2 would still happen. Kreese would still come back, and Daniel would still open up Miyagi-Do. Miguel and a couple other Cobra Kais wouldn't be happy to see Mike. Mike would say that he got in second, and that Miguel got lucky. So Mike would want to fight Miguel again. Kreese would see Mike's aggression, and he would want him to join Cobra Kai. So Mike Barnes would join Cobra Kai in this timeline, and he would be rivals with Miguel within the dojo. Over time, Mike would become friends with Hawk. Kreese and Johnny would continue teaching their students. Dimitri would still join Miyagi-Do in this timeline, and Hawk would find out, so he would get Mike Barnes and a couple other Cobras to confront Dimitri at the mall. And in this timeline, Mike wouldn't let Dimitri get away, and they would beat him up, so there wouldn't be a fight at the mall. So Cobra Kai wouldn't trash Miyagi-Do in this timeline. Daniel would hear what the Cobra Kais had done to Dimitri, and he would confront Johnny. So Johnny would want to punish his students. Kreese would train Mike and Hawk separately. Tori would still join in this timeline, and she would date Miguel. And the events of Cobra Kai Season 2 would carry on, and there would be a rivalry between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. There wouldn't be a school fight in this timeline. Johnny would see that his students were becoming bullies, and he wouldn't like this, so he would decide to kick Kreese out of Cobra Kai, but Kreese would reveal that he talked to the landlord, and that Cobra Kai belonged to him, so he would kick Johnny out of Cobra Kai. Johnny would leave, and he would form Eagle Fang. Miguel, Tori, and Aisha, and a couple other students would go with him, but Hawk and Mike would stay in Cobra Kai, and Kreese would go out recruiting various students, including Kyler and his friends. Hawk wouldn't entirely like this, and Kyler and Mike would become friends. Kyler would tell Mike who Hawk used to be, and there would be 3 dojos: Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang, and Miyagi-Do. Johnny would see the impact Kreese was having on Cobra Kai. Daniel would also see this, and Johnny and Daniel would realize that they needed to team up to take down Cobra Kai. So Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang would become one, but some of the students of the dojos wouldn't like this. There would still be some tension within the dojo. Kreese would hear that Johnny and Daniel had teamed up, so he would get Terry Silver. So Terry Silver would come back to Cobra Kai, and because Daniel never met Terry Silver in this timeline, Johnny and Daniel would continue working together. Eventually Robbie and Miguel and Sam and Tori would become friends. The Cobra Kais would still want to mess with the Miyagi Fangs, and one day, the Cobra Kais would be messing with Dimitri while he was alone, and Hawk would have the realization that he was on the wrong side, so he would want to stop Mike from attacking Dimitri. Mike would tell Hawk that he was pathetic, and that Kyler was right about him, that he was always just going to be the weird kid with the lip. So the Cobra Kais would attack Hawk, and they would shave off his mohawk, and they would leave Dimitri and Hawk there. Dimitri would thank Eli for standing up for him, and Dimitri and Eli would go back to Miyagi-Fang. And at first, none of the students would recognize Eli, but Dimitri would tell them what Eli had done, and Eli would apologize to everyone for all the things they had done. Eli would join Miyagi-Fang in the dojos, would start training for the Yell Valley, and Mike Barnes would be the top student at Cobra Kai. In the night of the tournament, Mike would want to get his revenge on Miguel. He would want to take his title of All Valley champion, and Mike and Miguel would have the rematch, but this time Mike would be fighting for Cobra Kai, while Miguel fought for Miyagi-Fang. But Miguel would use a combination of defense and offense, while Mike mostly focused on offense. But Mike would use the Quicksilver method against Miguel, but once again, Miguel would beat Mike in this timeline, and Sam would beat Piper in the girls division, so Miyagi-Fang would win overall, and the rivalry between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Fang would continue, and that is where I'm going to end this what if. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if young Mike Barnes was in Cobra Kai? Let me know in the comments below. All members have access to emojis that can be used in comments and live streams. This isn't mandatory. This is only something extra if you want to support the channel even more. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.